Hi, we're here today at our academy to do our sixth video. It is sixth video because we've done 5 already. I got it wrong yesterday, I said 4. So it's 5 videos we've already done. Yesterday was addition, today we're going to do subtraction. We're doing this because kids at the moment are getting a bit bored because of this COVID-19 coronavirus. So we thought we'd do some videos to keep them busy and bit of education for them and a bit of fun. Okay, so we'll crack on. So today, as I said, we're going to be doing subtraction. So what is subtraction? Subtraction is taking away one item or items from another. Example would be 5 minus 3 equals 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. 3 minus 1 equals 2. So that's what subtraction is. But those who don't understand that way, we could think of them as 1-pence pieces. So these are 1-pence pieces. So that would be 5 minus 2. So take 2 from here. So this 2 being taken away from those, and you're left with 3. So again, 3 minus 1 would be 3 pennies minus 1 penny equals what? So we just take that penny off, take that penny off, we're left with 2. So therefore, you could look at it another way and say you've got 5 minus 2 equals 3. You could split it in half and you could do 5 pennies, like so. Splitting in half is good because what you do to one side in subtraction, you can do to the other side. So 5 minus 2, so you take these 2 off, and you're saying you have to take 2 off from here. Any 2, doesn't matter. So now you're left with 3. Just another way of doing it. Working with coins is brilliant. Because working with coins, you can learn then how to use money. So it's handy then when they're older. So you could have 50 pence piece, 20 pence piece, 10, 5, 2, and 1. So using these as coins, and usually give them about 4 of each. Giving them 4, it look like an X, of each. That gives them a variety of coins to work with, and also give them, say, £2 coins as well, just in case. So if you were working on money, you could say £1.50 minus 40p, say for example. So you could work that in a variety of ways, but I would still change this to 150 pence minus 40 pence, and then give the child a £1 coin or 3 50 pence pieces. So it will be a 50 pence piece, a 50 pence piece, to make £1, and then say give 2 20s to make it a little bit more interesting, and a 20, that makes 140, and a 10 pence piece. Then it makes it easier to minus, so we're looking at minus 40p. So you could draw in or give them 2 20 pence coins. You've got 4 there anyway. So you could give them and you could say minus. So coming back to what we done earlier to split it in half, then you could just erase 20 pence, those two, and you have to do the same to this side. So you could say, let's erase them, or cross them off. You could do, say, crossing off, erase them, and then you could just add it. 50 plus 50 is £1, and 10p is £1.10, equals £1.10, or 110 pence. That way they're learning about making up money, learning to use all the different coins, and they can learn about money as well as subtraction. The other thing that they're learning as well is addition at the same time. Because if you was to prove your answer that it's £1.10, you could say to them, let's add £1.10 to 40, and if it becomes £1.50, then we know that this is correct. Say for argument's sake, if it wasn't correct, if that wasn't correct, and you came up with £1.20 plus 40 would be £1.60, so you know it doesn't match. So it's a really good method. So to double check. So when you give them a subtraction, tell them to add them up, the answer and the last bit of the subtraction, add them up, so you should get the larger number this way on the left. So therefore, you would give them 40p, $20 and $20, and say to them, can you add these onto there and see if it makes the same amount? So then you add them in again. So then you've got 150, so it's 50 and 50, £1, and 20 and 20 is 40. £1.20, £1.40, and 10 is £1.50, which is then correct. Moving on to larger numbers, it's better to adapt to another way instead of money. You could follow money if you wanted to, but when it comes to numbers like, say for argument's sake, 343, and then minus 177. There's two methods of doing this. The one method, which is now kids do in school, is they borrow 1 from the side to cross it off. If I give you an example, it's, you can't take away 7 from 3, so you have to borrow 1 to make it 13. So that becomes 13. So because you've borrowed 1 here, it's in the tens column, so therefore you'd have to deduct it from this one. It has to come from somewhere. So you'd cross that off, and this would become a 3. So 7 from 13 now will be 6. And 7 from 3, well, you still can't do that, so you have to borrow another 1 from here. So this becomes a 2. So therefore this becomes a 13. So 7 from 13 we already know is another 6. And notice how it's in line. It's very important, as we did with addition, that you must make sure that everything corresponds to in line. Otherwise you might get it in the wrong place and give the wrong answer. So therefore, you've got a 2 here now, you've got a 1 here now, so 1 from 2, 100 from 200 equals 100. So your answer is 166. That's one method which is more modern. I wasn't taught that method. So we could say, have the same numbers, or similar numbers. Three, 4, 3, 177, I think it was. And you could do the calculation in a slightly different way, which is old school. It's with preference, really. I think this way I prefer it because it's easier for me, but it might not be easier for you. So basically you've got 3 minus 7, can't do, so it has to be 13. And then you borrowed 1, so you just give it back down here. Just give it back. Okay? So then it's going to be 7 from 13. So 13 minus 7, in other words, if you want to do it that way, would equal 6. 7 plus 1 is 8. Yeah? 8 from 4 doesn't go. So that becomes 14, and you bring another one back. Give another, whatever you borrow, you have to give back on the bottom. So therefore, it's going to be 14 minus 8 is 6, and 2, so 1 plus 1, 2, from 3 is 1. So you still come up with the same answer, but it's with preferences, whichever one you want to do. So giving you a long number gets slightly complicated. This is where the importance is of, say we got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. It's quite a large number. 12,456. And we wanted to minus, say, 3,778. Make it a bit difficult. So you could do it straight off if you once you've got the practice, but my advice would be to line it up by putting lines all the way down. That way it makes it a little bit easier for one to do this. You can't really make that many mistakes. Then you can use your modern method of borrowing 1, because obviously if you look at 6, you can't minus 8 from 6. It'll be minus 2, so that doesn't make sense. So basically you borrow 1. And if you borrow 1 there, you have to borrow 1 from here. That becomes a 4. So now it's 16 minus 8 equals 8. And then 7 from 4 won't go. So we're back in the same situation. So we have to borrow 1, that becomes 14. And because we borrowed 1, we have to cross this one off and make it 3. Now 14 minus 7 equals 7. And then 7 minus 3 minus 7 doesn't go. So now you have to borrow 1 again. So that becomes 13. And because you borrowed 1 there, you have to take it from somewhere. So you take it out of here, and this becomes 1. So 13 minus 7 now is going to be 6. And 3 from 1 won't go. So this now is going to have to become 11. Now it will work. And then you have to cross this off and it becomes a 0, because there's nothing left. If you borrow 1 from 1, it's like saying you got 1 sweet and you take it away from somebody, you've got none left. So now 11 minus 3 equals 8. So there you have your answer. So the answer to this is 12,456 minus 3,778 is 8,678. So you could go on further and prove that if your answer is correct, because if your answer is not correct, if you add these two together, they won't equate to this, they won't calculate to this. So you could always rewrite this again. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. And then just add these two up. So you could put a frame around it, so you know you're adding it. So it doesn't really interfere with that one. And ignore that bit. Just carry on with this. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 8 plus 7 is 15. 7 plus 7 is 14. And 9 plus 3 is 12. there we have that answer should be equal to this answer. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So you've proved that your subtraction is correct. And that's basically it, that if you do that, doing subtraction, if you do addition at the end of it, that means you can learn both at the same time because they go side by side. So we covered this yesterday with addition. So if you add any number, so 55 plus 42, 97. Okay, so if you minus 42 from 97, it should give you 55. Goes back to that one. So you can prove it. Same thing with minus. So 55 minus 42 is 313, yes? So if you was to add these two up, so you're doing opposite of what you just did. So this plus this should equal that. And it does. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you don't understand any part of this, comment below, like, share, and I can always do a one-on-one Skype with anybody who doesn't understand any particular part. Thank you.